Hello from Minerva. Today I'm going to be doing a sew along from this baby pattern, Simplicity 1566. It's a corker of a pattern, full wardrobe. You've got overalls, a hat, short t-shirt, long t-shirt, a gilet, a long t-shirt with cam snaps on like this. And today I'm going to make the basic leggings for beginners, and I'm going to make the long sleeve t-shirt for intermediates, and just to show you how to apply the cam snaps. And also the sort of focus of today is to have a go at adding some applique. All the products that I use are listed below, so you can mix and match whichever fabrics that you would like to use for each garment. This is a denim effect sweatshirt fabric that I'm going to use for the leggings. You can see it's not got the smooth cotton finish on the back. It's a little bit more hard wearing. That's why I've chosen that one for the leggings. I've got some Cadiz navy jersey, and that I'm going to use for the long sleeve top, and I'm also going to use that for the applique on the knees of the leggings. There's some elastic for making the waistband on the leggings, and there's also a product that is maybe not familiar to you, which is a type of applique interfacing, and this is slightly stretchy, so you can use it with stretch fabric. It's got glue on the back and it's very, very smooth here. You might have spotted it on ready to wear clothing, on pyjamas, where there's an applique on the front here, and behind you see a patch of flat interfacing that covers over the stitching that makes it comfortable on your skin. So that is listed below if you've not seen that before. I've also got Gutterman thread to sew up, because we need some strong thread for having a stretch in our garments. I'm going to work the sew along by working through the instructions just as you would see if you bought the pattern for yourself, and I'm going to start with the leggings. From the pattern you will have cut out the star shapes, sometimes a little tricky in jersey because it will be a little bit curly and stretchy, and then we're going to apply interfacing with the glue side down onto the back of the stars. We're going to do that with an iron. Make sure you press, not drag, because if you drag and use your iron like that, you'll pull the interfacing slightly one side. So you're just going to make sure that you use a press motion and press your interfacing to the back of your knee stars. You can trim away any interfacing that's just peeping out, and you need to do that because remember, this isn't going to be a facing on the inside. This is going to be showing on the outside of your garment. So just make sure you can't see any interfacing at all. Unfortunately, there's not a placement on the pattern for where to put the stars. So you're going to have to make a bit of a sort of estimate and make sure that you get them the same on both sides. It does suggest that you pin the star onto the leggings, but I find if you pin it, sometimes you get a little ruck in it from having the pin. So little tip for me, it's not on the pattern, but a little bit of Wonder Web or hemming tape is got glue on both sides, so I put a little bit of that on the back of the star, and then that will hold it in place like a sort of glue. So I'm going to put that there, make sure none of that's showing, and then hold that down. So now I've got my star on, but without having any pins in the way when I'm sewing, or having the pins just jump the star up a little bit in the middle. So it's perfectly flat. Because there's no pattern markings, I'm now going to put the other piece on top and try and make sure that I've got the star in the same place and the same orientation. The stitch you will need to apply the interfacing is called a satin stitch. So So you need a really close zigzag. So you can see here my zigzag isn't close enough. Then I get it closer and closer by changing the stitch length. That's the gap between one zigzag and the next. And then I've got one here that means it's still slightly stretchy, but it's giving a nice border. So I've got stitch width 4 and stitch length 0.5, 0.6, 0.7. It's important when you're letting your jersey go through that you don't pull it from the back. So you mustn't pull from here because you'll get a ripple effect. You need to, even though it feels slow, you need to just let the foot move the fabric over the feed dogs. And have a little practice on a test piece. So you can see this one has been stretched, but this one hasn't. And this one is slightly ripply and this one is much flatter. I recommend starting in one of the V shapes of the star, not on a point. If you start there, then when you do a forwards and back at the beginning, you won't get a big lump at the end of one of your star peaks. So start in one of the V shapes. That's the first patch done, and it's pressed, it's not bubbly. If there's any little bits of interfacing that just fold over or pop through, you can snip those off. And from the back, it looks like this with your zigzag stitch. And then on the back is where you can now put your piece of applique cover over interfacing, and that will make the insides nice and smooth, and you press onto there. That's the finished applique on the back with a lovely, lovely smooth finish. You can't even feel the stitching, even if it's a bit lumpy or a bit close. Okay, time to do the other one, and then we're ready to put the leggings together. Okay, so that was stage 1, to apply the appliques, and stage 2 is to sew the inner seams together. So you will have your leg piece and a back leg and a front leg, and you're going to put those together and sew the inner piece. You'll have notches to match up. I've got little slits today, not a V shape, just a little slit to mark, so that I can make sure that the hems match and that the crotch matches. This zigzag stitch looks like this. It looks like a really open zigzag, very narrow, but it still allows the fabric to stretch. If you sew that with a straight stitch, when you stretch it, it'll go pop and you'll have a hole in your legging. So you need to make sure that you use a stretch stitch on the seams. You don't have to finish the edges of this fabric because it won't fray. You can just cut it with pinking shears if you want, or you can just leave it as a straight cut edge. Okay, number 3 is to sew the crotch seam. So with right sides together, I'm going to open out legging, put this on top, and again you're going to match the notches. There's 2 notches on that side and 3 notches for the back, and I'm going to sew that crotch curve with the 1.5 seam allowance. again with the stretchy stitch. Make sure that you match up the leg seam on the inside, open it out flat so you don't get it bulky, and try and make sure that those seam allowances stay open and don't sort of get caught down when you sew. It feels strange, that seam. You think, oh my gosh, I haven't done it properly, but you fold them over like this, and this is your leggings. And now it's time to sew the side seams, so we'll put it back how it was. Okay, you need to make sure that you sew your side seams a front to a back and a back to a front. So let's show you that. So you need to make sure that you can see both knees on the same side. We're now going to move on to the elastic casing. And there's a few things you can do here to stop the elastic getting stuck when you're trying to thread it around. So you can either, as this pattern suggests, you can baste these down, so tack those seam allowances down, or, which is what I do, which is to snip them out. So I just layer that seam out so that when it's folded down, there's not so much bulk to go for the elastic to get stuck in there. It can just glide past. Okay, you've got 2.5 centimeters to press down, and you make a press line, and then you're going to have another bit that goes underneath, and that is 6 mil. So you need to fold 2.5 and press, and then fold under 6 mil, and that will make your casing. Once you've measured and pinned around your casing, you can sew around there, and then we'll thread the elastic through. Start at the back so that you've got your elastic opening at the back of the leggings. Don't forget to leave a gap to insert the elastic, and then we can sew that up at the end. So you distribute the elastic round and sew up the back so you can't see it. And then it doesn't say in the pattern, but I like to do a little stitch in the ditch just here on the side seam to hold the elastic down flat, and on the other side seam. So if you put a little stitch in the ditch on each end, it will stop the elastic rolling round. I'll show you how to do that. It's super quick and easy. With the fabric from the right side, you find the side seam and you line your needle up with it, and then you're just going to go forwards and back in that seam line. You do need to make sure you've distributed the elastic evenly all the way around, because once you've done the stitch in the ditch, you've held that elastic in place. I'm going to do one on the other side. I've just got a little bit more on that side and that side. That's it. From the right side, find the ditch, and sew forwards and back. Obviously, if you need to change the elastic width for the person that you're sewing for, you'll have to undo those stitches in the ditch to pull through the elastic. But that elastic essentially is adjustable if you need to take it out and change it. Okay, Okay, that's the trousers done. So you've got elasticated waist with the elastic distributed evenly, and the applique knees and hemmed bottoms. A really nice make for a beginner. You can even make them without the applique knees if you're just using up some fabric, or if you don't think you can have a go at those applique bits yet, you could try the leggings and then gain a little bit of confidence. I'm going to make a long sleeve t-shirt to make a little set with this, and that's what we're going to do next. Okay, number one is the same phase as you did number one on the leggings. So you're going to add the applique and the stretchy cover on the background, and then we're going to apply the front neckband facing, and the front neckband facing is number 3. They do look quite similar. So you get number 3 neckband piece, and you're going to fold it in half, wrong sides together, and then you're going to stretch it round the neckband hole. So you're going to fold your fabric in half, and then you're going to sew it round the neckband. Okay, once you've sewn the neckband on, you're then going to have the seam that you've just made point downhill and press that, and then to stop it flipping up here, we're going to sew that down. And it's your choice, you can zigzag, you can straight stitch, you can, if you're looking to expand your skills a bit, you can do twin needle stitching, but you need to stop that seam allowance from flapping back up. It's a bit tricky to show you in navy. So there you are, you've got the neckband applied, and it's still got stretch, and then it's top stitched down, so you've still got the stretch going that way. So that's the front band, and then you're going to attach the neckband on in the same way, and then we're going to look at making the shoulder facings. Using the front neckband piece, you're going to try and find here a fold line with 2 little snap markings on it, and that's going to be your marker for making a fold line. So you've got 2 there, look, and those are going to be folded back and pinned in place, because they are going to be the facings for the cam snaps. You need to get that fold line off this pattern piece, and that's what shows you how much to fold over to make these facings. Once you've folded down that little facing, you sew along the bottom, so you should now have a back facing on the back piece and a front facing on the front piece, and that is where you're going to put your fastening, so you can get a bigger neck opening for a baby. So you've got a couple of choices you can make here. You can use hemline press studs, and you can just hand sew 3 along there, or you can use cam snaps and pop those in with a cam tool if you have one. One to be in the neckband, because if you put them over here, you'll end up with this sort of saggy neckband. So your press stud or your cam snap, one of them needs to be in the neckband and the other 2 over here. So you can use 2 actually, you don't need 3, because you need to allow your 1.5 seam allowance to add your sleeve. So I'm just going to pop these in, and then I'll show you how to do one, just in case you've not seen it before. I've put the protruding parts on the front, and now I'm going to put the recessed parts on the back. So they look like this. They've got a little dish in the bottom, and I've lined them up, and then you put the round bit in the bottom, and then this bit will stab down and it will squash that plastic pocket, that plastic spike that's sticking up in the middle of that dish pocket shape. Okay, and then these snap onto there. Then you've got space to add your shoulder seam with your sleeve attached. Got 2 more to do, and then we can add the sleeves. The next stage is to add sleeves, and you put those in matching the notches. So you've got a single V at the front, 2 slits at the back. I'm going to put the sleeves in and then sew down the side seams and hem up. So all the complicated bits are done. It's pretty easy to follow the instructions from now on. Just be careful with this jersey cadiz that you can see which is the right side and the wrong side. The right side has got a very fine knit weave on, and the back has got a smoother finish. So you'll see that the duller rib side is the right side up. Attach the shoulders, so the sleeve head goes in, and then the side seam is sewn along with the elbow. So you go under the elbow and down the side seam. Just the hems left to do. When you're sewing the tiny cuffs, sew them from the inside so that your cuff is on the outside of the foot, so your foot's inside. Otherwise, if you try and do it the other way, you'll catch the back. So you can just keep turning the cuff around. And you don't need many pins in it, just 2 to hold it. Quite fiddly, and this is the large size, so it would be even smaller. There we are. So that's Simplicity 1566. We've done view A and view C today. If you're a beginner, you might want to just start doing the leggings without an applique. You can move on to the applique. Even though the long sleeve top has the little tabs on, they're not difficult to do. You might want to just hand sew on some press studs to make it easier. But if you join the Minerva Club, you can get a discount, especially if you want to invest in some new sewing equipment, like maybe a cam snap set. You don't need to use the fabrics that I've used below. You could try a fleece backed terry for the bottoms. You could try a sweatshirt fabric, would make both of them as well. I've put the 2 different types of jersey that I've used. The Cadiz jersey is actually very good for adult garments. It makes really nice t-shirts for adults. It's a very good quality. Art gallery fabrics are also another good choice. This is an art gallery fabric that I've got for myself, but there's some really nice designs that would be great for kids' clothes too. So I hope you've enjoyed yourselves, and you will come back soon. Thanks very much for watching. Bye bye.